Good evening and welcome to Learn for Life TV, L4LTV. We are the UK's first live Teacher CPD show. And thank you to Rachel Jones and Dawn Scott for that playful introduction, because today the show is all about games and gaming. Welcome to the show. Tonight, first off, we're going to Burnt Oak Junior School to look at their Minecraft club, which is slowly being integrated into the mainstream school. Their teacher, Peter Barrett, and the consultant, Mike Jupp, are going to be talking about how they put the server in and how the children are responding to it. Secondly, I have an interview with Adam Clark. Unfortunately, I was hoping to do it live on camera tonight, but the bandwidth was against us, so we did it earlier this afternoon. He'll be talking about how he integrates coding and the arts, which is quite interesting because next up after that is Heinrich Lode, who actually won a very prestigious educational gaming prize, and she will be interviewed and shown very soon after that. Towards the end, we'll be talking to various other people in the gaming and education sphere. We'll be talking to Kirsten Campbell-House and how she helps set up the integration between gamers and educationalists with her group Leg Up, which I have begun to stream every month as they bring in gamers to talk about education. The last one they talked about was the science of learning games, which is very interesting. Neuroscience and learning and games. No matter what you think about that topic, it's very interesting. And lastly, I will be talking to Kim Blake of Yuki, the United Kingdom Interactive Arts Entertainments industry, about how they've teamed up with STEM in the second part of the Hope Livingston rollout to not only look at coding but also the arts and how their new video game ambassadors are being integrated into schools. So there we have it. Games and gaming. We're up against Charlie Brooker tonight. We would be a lovely second screen experience. Enjoy the show. Look at Charlie Brooker by all means, but keep your earphones plugged in and listen to us too on the tablet or on the phone. Enjoy the show. Oh, and before I go, I'd like to thank you, everyone who has helped with this production, especially the sponsors who are Rising Stars, Igloo Education, Iris Education, and Computing at Schools. They've all been fantastic stalwarts. This show would never have got off the ground without those companies. It's nice to see that the UK has got some vision. This is a teacher to teacher CPD, Continual Professional Development Station. Send in your videos. Enjoy the show.
What are you doing at the moment?
Well, we're buying.
What are you actually doing?
So we're buying from shops and we're doing money problems.
So what are you writing now?
What I bought and what changed anything.
What kind of things are you going to start doing in school to do with that inside Minecraft?
We were going to, one year group create like a world, and then another year group go into it and write like a poem or something about it.
And then maybe, because Year 6 are learning about World War II, we can make an air shelter.
Well, if it's, say, perimeter or area, you have you write a question and you have to do the perimeter on Minecraft using the squares.
Again.
160 centimetres cubed.
Right, so build me a different... That's fine. Now build a different shape with the same volume.
Can you just tell me how I swap what I've got?
No, you've got to leave that one on. I want to see another one next to it, okay?
Okay. Alright, I know what I'm doing.
Literacy, you could use the same world for literacy, but as I said, like World War II, and you can adapt it to World War II structure.
I'm with Peter Barrett at Burnt Oak Junior School in Sidcup, and you brought Minecraft into the classroom. Why bring a game into the classroom?
We really want to tap the children's enthusiasm for the game so that we can use it to help accelerate their learning.
So why Minecraft, and why now in this school?
Well, we're known for using innovative technology in the school, and the children are really eager to try new things out. And I asked the children how many of them actually use Minecraft, and I found 70% of the children in this school, of about 230, already use Minecraft. When I mentioned we might be getting it in the school, the enthusiasm was immense. So I thought, well, maybe we can tap this enthusiasm across the curriculum.
And so I know it's early days, I know it's only a few weeks, but what are the sort of things that you're trying to do within the curriculum using the sort of medium of Minecraft?
Well, first of all, I have to say it's been a really steep learning curve for me because I know nothing about Minecraft, but I realised very early on in the first week that I needed to tap the knowledge and skills of the experts, the children. So we set up a Minecraft club, and we had over 170 children wanted to be in it. We had to narrow that down to 30. And in the club, I asked them, how do they think it can be used in literacy to start with? What sort of things could be done? And it's evolved to the way that they create virtual worlds for other classes. And the other class, we're just trialling it now as we speak virtually, the other class will go on into the computing suite where they can get on the 16 different characters, and they will have 20, for example, say you've got 20 minutes to go through a portal into this virtual world that's just been created, and you need to do a newspaper report on, in this particular world, it's a theme park, a magic theme park. In fact, it's on the screens behind me. And it was made by Year 6 for Year 4, and they have 20 minutes to explore it and take notes and maybe take screenshots, and then they write a newspaper report on Word about it, about which part of the theme park they enjoyed the most. So there's a lot of descriptive writing and so on.
So you're evolving sort of techniques to sort of exploit the whole game process as you go along. And what are you finding out that you didn't know about the students' learning, that you observed?
I've observed children who are not particularly able are able to explain in great depth about how they're using blocks to construct things, and that the level of language is amazing. And the sort of things they're talking about, the conversation, a Minecraft conversation is like a different language. It's things like, oh, well, maybe you could use obsidian blocks or maybe quartz, because you can have quartz that are stenciled, and then you do a tower, and then they talk about redstone, which seems to power things, so they can do roller coasters and pressure plates, and they seem to connect all this together to create very interesting worlds, different types of worlds.
So what you're doing this evening is you're working with Mike, who we'll talk to in a minute, to actually put in some software that can actually show exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it. Can you explain the sort of setup?
Just backtracking slightly, I'll come to that. We have digital leaders in the school, which is another thing entirely, but basically these children are outstanding at computing, and they're not particularly good, some of them, at much else, but they are outstanding in computing. And as soon as we got Minecraft so they could actually go on it and work it, one of them went home and started making videos of what you can do in it. Now, that would have been a video with a voiceover, but what we think is much more exciting, we've only just tonight worked out how to do it for free, is to have a picture of the person talking to the webcam and explaining a small picture on the screen, so a little picture down on the right-hand side of the screen, while Minecraft is going on in the background. So we can very instantly make tutorial videos for all the different aspects of Minecraft. And what I'm finding out, actually, even from, which I didn't realise tonight, is a lot of these children only came across Minecraft, who we were talking to, only came across Minecraft at school, although some had been on it at home for many years. So we've got this great big width, but they all seem to be very, very creative and exploring all the different aspects, whether they've been on it for a week or 2 years. Now, there is quite a lot to learn about it. As I say, I know very little. But if we can have the whole, imagine a class, 30 children on 16 computers, they're all recording a part of what they know, their skills and knowledge about Minecraft. You suddenly instantly got a bank of 16 videos, which you don't really need to edit, you just need to top and tail. Pick the best ones, and then the learning will be so much faster in Minecraft, and then they'll start to see that the ones who know the most see the possibilities the quickest and how it can be used in the curriculum. And unexpectedly today they were suddenly talking about how it could be used in maths, even though our first focus is only literacy.
Yeah, I mean, the point about the recording software, I think, as well. Oh, it started raining on the screen behind you. The point about recording software.
It does weather.
It does weather. Is that you can also see the process of how they're evolving. And you said that you've actually been chosen for a UNESCO project.
Yes, initially it was because of our work with Mission Maker, where, although that's a secondary bit of software, children were learning. We had a very interesting learning experience there, because we had the makers of Mission Maker come in and work with our Year 6, and although, as I say, it's really a secondary piece of software. And at lunchtime, some of our Year 6 were in the computing suite playing with it, and some of the Year 3s and 4s were watching them. And then Year 6 left, and the 3s and 4s went up to 4s and 5s. And last year I said to them, well, how do you use Mission Maker? And they said, oh, well, we watch the Year 6s, and I'll show you. And they're doing things like writing programs to open doors and different things like that, or triggers for doors. And so we did a video of that, and it obviously is amazing to see children doing this, and we do lots of other innovation in this school. So UNESCO have chosen us for a project, worldwide project, where we are working with only 3 other schools in this country to produce a book for helping teachers across the world, and we're working with 10 other countries too, to use computing more effectively in children's learning.
Right. I'm with Mike Jupp, who is the technical brains behind putting Minecraft into this school. Mike, how did you manage it? Because it's quite a difficult process.
We looked at the spec for Minecraft EDU and chose a server which is capable of handling, I think, up to about 100. So we allow for a bit of expansion, so we have 100 connections at a time. And it wasn't much dearer than a cheaper one would have been, and Peter very kindly managed to find the money for it.
And a lot of people have been talking about the problems they've had with updates and things. How have you avoided that in this particular setup?
But by building our own server and having it localized, we are able to log on locally, so they don't need to actually go outside this environment, which is when the updates automatically happen. So by keeping it within the school, we are able to keep it from updating automatically.
So it holds it in time.
Yeah.
And if you want to put different bits and pieces and update it?
Yes, I think from reading blogs of other people's experience, it's probably best to take our updates all in a block, as it were, at a Christmas or summer break time and apply them then, rather than try and do them piecemeal throughout the year.
So you've just put a new piece of software, or a combination of bits and pieces of software on there. Can you tell us what that is that you've put on and how it's going to work?
Right, we put some free software on called Cam Studio, which is screen capture software, which enables us obviously to capture the screen of the Minecraft doing whatever it's doing. But in addition to that, we put some webcam software on, which produces a sort of passport-sized photo, if you like, of the user in front of the computer, and we can put that down in a corner, or we can move it anywhere you like really, but you can put it down in the corner so it's captured along with the full screen, so you've got the two together.
And what else have you been doing, because you work in the club here on Fridays, what else, there's other little projects you've been putting in place?
We've been playing with tablets, Android tablets, just cheap tablets really, to great effect, and we've been using them with the pupils to produce their own little applications using the App Inventor software from MIT. So that's been quite effective, I believe. One of the deficiencies of Android is that you can't actually map drives like you would with a Windows machine or maybe a Linux machine. They work much better with cloud type things. So on the server here, I've set up something called Own Cloud, which enables the tablets to actually save software as if they were to Dropbox or something like that.
And you've obviously got a lot of expertise. You were working with, it's been handed to you now,
Yes.
some robotics as well. Can you tell us about your robots?
Yes, these are robotic arms which were available from Maplin. They're not very dear. You've got to allow at least a couple of hours to put them together, as I found, and some of the parts are unfortunately not identical, but if you're not careful, interchangeable, which can lead to problems. And they can be programmed to do series of events using a simple action recorder on the screen of the PCs. So it's a simple example of programming for the pupils.
So, Mike, can I ask you what your background is and what you do?
Yes. I come from industry, obviously. I used to work for British Telecom, where I was a software manager, and we developed various programs for this, that and the other, one of which is for retrieving records for the police from our database. And I've come into education via adult education. I'm a tutor for adult education and got involved with the students.
So you are available for work to put Minecraft in school, I take it.
Yes, it looks like I've become the local expert on this sort of thing, so maybe I am, yeah.
So we'll put your details along the bottom there at the end of the film, I think, for people to sort of come along and talk to you. Thank you so much.
That's lovely, thanks.
Hello, my name is Adam Clark, and yes, that is my Han Solo avatar in Minecraft. I use Minecraft nearly every day to teach and to learn with, and I'm involved with a number of creative projects using games-based learning, from environmental Minecraft OS mapping data to medical imagery. I am also the creator of a YouTube playlist called 101 Ideas for Minecraft Learners. Today what I'd like to briefly show you is about how we can learn code in Minecraft. And I'm going to really whiz through this kind of stuff and kind of give you a brief overview of kind of some of the kind of possibilities that are available within Minecraft. So as you probably know, some of you probably know, Minecraft's got something called redstone, and with redstone we can make redstone circuits, so we can turn lights on and off. So there's a light on the other end. And that gives us the opportunity to create something called Boolean logic. We've got these switches, levers, and other ways of inputting and outputting stuff like that. So we've got kind of true and false, and we can create Boolean logic. Minecraft also has a really good thing called a command block. We've got something called, here we can do kind of command line instructions. So if I right click the command block like here, we can actually write in /, which is a command say, and then hello world. And what we do is we give it a redstone signal with this switch down here, and the command block will actually pump out a little hello world down the bottom there within the text, within the chat window at the bottom. Command blocks have given us the opportunity to create conditional statements, and there's another command called test4. So if we just look inside this console command, we can see a /test4, and then we've got a few little kind of things. This is @p, which is targets the nearest player, and then r equals 2, which stands for radius 2. So basically what we've got here, we've got an if statement, and we can kind of click this one, and if I'm within 2, which I'm not actually, if I go near it, then we'll get a positive, and we'll get a light switched on at the back. So we just kind of connect that up to an output, so we can get if then, and then is the positive output. I'm going to move away and press it again, and we turn the light off because it's getting a false output. We can also do things like if else. Okay, so by linking in almost sort of old-fashioned, I would dare to say, redstone circuitry. So basically it's got a positive output, which is the else. So we'll do if, and I'm close, it'll set this, it'll give an output here, but not an else. And then if I'm far away and press it, it has not done the if you like, and then it has done the else. Okay. We can also do things like, these are all like button pressing ones, but we can also kind of give it an updating effect, and we make little redstone clocks to do that. Redstone clocks give a redstone pulse which continually updates the block. Okay, so the block is continually being tested, continually asking this test for @player equals radius 2. So if I move near it, the light goes on, and if I move far away from it, the light goes off. So these are kind of really good ways of creating an on update effect. That would probably be you might call that a loop, but that's one of the ways of doing it. We can also do things like or and. Okay, and again I've locked these together with updates, so we can kind of, well, that's or I'm near this one, or I'm near that one, and we can see the light going on and off in the background. This one's a bit more interesting because it's an and, so it requires both things to be lit up. So I'm near both these blocks here, and that's given me a positive output. But of course, if I just move away from one, I can move away from that. And we can kind of see some of the kind of redstone contraptions that are laid out in the background. And I'll be doing another video explaining all this very, very shortly. We've also got in the background some other forms of redstone clocks. The great thing about Minecraft for me is that there are, and like coding really, there are many ways to achieve the same thing. Okay, there's efficient ways of doing it, and there are sort of playful ways of doing it, and there's kind of self-discovery ways of doing it. And because no one has really written a book yet, anyway, about Minecraft and how to kind of do this kind of stuff, what people are really relying on is YouTube videos and small circles of collaborators. So there are a couple of places that you might get information about this. For example, the Minecraft forums, and also Planet Minecraft is a good place as well.
And here he is, Adam Clark. So, the common people, can you tell us what you're up to at the moment? Because I did do a video with you, but now it's not current because you move so fast.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of things going on at the moment, and we've done some Boolean logic. There's more things on the horizon at the moment as well, and currently I'm I'm investigating looking at using Raspberry Pis to host sort of small sector mobile Minecraft areas. So basically you could go out into, we were talking about it today, we were walking along the street, and I said if we could put a Raspberry Pi Minecraft world in our bus shelter, then as you walked along to the bus shelter you could say, hey, I've got a signal, and you could connect to that Raspberry Pi world, and we would kind of mirror real life worlds with kind of Minecraft mobile worlds as well. So that's kind of one of the things I'm thinking.
But hyper local.
Hyper local, yeah, really not almost making small LAN worlds that are connected to kind of local landmarks, or kind of, I'm thinking about historical documents, historical places, art museums, and places like that. So I'm kind of in talks with an actual mine, because I think that would be really good to look, because mines are now kind of historical, and people kind of visit them and stuff like that. And I think to use Minecraft within that kind of context might be quite fun. And again, it opens up loads of doors for kind of historical stuff, and learning about our history and where we came from, and kind of and telling those narrative stories within a kind of game narrative as well.
This is what gets me about the film that you made for us, is the fact that you talked about you can do coding as a purely clinical, analytical thing. How do I get over this? But also there's many ways in. And what I liked about one of your videos recently on your 101 things about Minecraft was the Reminiscence project, where you go back and you look at, I know it's harder for younger children to do, but they could still do their environment and narratives about their everyday selves. And for me, that was fascinating to look at, to see that how you could use something that involves coding, involves the arts as well. And I am talking to Kim Blake at Yuki, who's the person who goes out and finds the talent and organises with young people in the interactive game sphere. Hers is the last interview this evening, about how people are needed in that sphere as well, where you dovetail the two cultures together. Because I think this is a cultural phenomenon anyway, and you need people who are not twin cultures, but a fusion of both cultures. I don't know what you think about that, just very quickly.
Yeah, well, but I mean, I think there are. I mean, I'm in contact with a fair few people kind of within that YouTube sphere who kind of are producing content, Minecraft content, and tutorials and things like that, and producing it very much in terms of, this is a game, and we want to make maps, and we want to make games, and it's fantasy, and it's all kind of pleasurable. But when I talk to them, they're also saying what we really want to do is we want to get into education, and what we really want to do is we want to kind of say elevate this to kind of an art form, and a way of teaching and learning and stuff like that. So people are very eager, and that's part of the community that's very eager. And of course, within the Minecraft community, you've also got people who've been teaching Minecraft tricks and ways of coding, and there's been all those forums and stuff like that to help each other to learn about this game and to kind of move it forward and to push it forward as well. And I think for me, that kind of community, that kind of tribe, has been a very warm place to kind of to have ideas and to generate ideas. If you look at education, sometimes it's like you're always being tested, and you kind of, and the Minecraft community has really embraced kind of different ways of thinking, and made kind of learning fun for me. So I've really entered this space not being a programmer, being much more of a kind of an artist, but I've been able to learn programming myself and able to teach it to other people too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
No worries. Thank you.
I grew up in East Germany, and I had some trouble with the school system. Basically, the entire time it was really hard for me getting along with all the rules and sticking to exactly the kind of system they build up. And I basically learned to hate learning. And that was really hard for me, finding my place and figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. In the end, through kind of an accident, I went to Berlin to study media and computing. Not that I had technology for myself in mind. That was not really the plan. It was only the only application that accepted me. And then it turns out I really loved learning programming, and that was really the right choice for me. It taught me how to understand the way my thinking works, and it taught me a unique, applicable skill that really empowered me to love learning and love failing, because failing helps me understand how a system really works. That was And then they, after finishing the education, my professors asked me to work for them at the Game Lab, the Research Center for Computer Games and Interaction. And they asked me to research other programs that teach game design education. And I found the Master Design program at ITU Copenhagen. And there I became a game designer.
And so tell us about your recent wins, because you have been lauded for what you've done. Tell us what it is that you've achieved in the last few years.
For my master thesis, the end of the program, I developed a good educational game, an example for what it takes, the right amount of good gameplay, good learning theory, and the beauty and audio design, everything that comes together to make a perfect game for children. And we made a prototype with that and sent it in for some applications. And then we won at the Serious Games Showcase and Challenge in Florida, Orlando. We won the Best Student Game Award. That was December 2012. And then in April this year, we won at the Conference for Human Interaction, I think CHI. We won the Best Game for Purpose Award.
And what are your plans now? What are you going to do in the future?
We're planning on developing more of the game. We're really close to releasing the first 2 of 5 episodes, and then we want to raise some funds so we can develop the rest of it and try to make our company Lohika into a sustainable business. But we're really experimenting, so it's a bit... We want to make more games, but let's finish this one first and see how it goes.
And can you tell us where to find you on the net and where you can find your games?
Yeah, that's www.machineers.com. You spell it like machine and engineers. Or you can Google my name, Henrike Lode, for example. You can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. We're trying to cover the entire range of social media.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm with Kirsten Campbell-Howes. And Kirsten, can you tell me about EduGames Network? Update us on it, because I interviewed you briefly on the evening that you launched. And how has it evolved?
Okay, so we kind of have 2 networks. So we have what in London is called Leg Up, the London Educational Games Meetup, and its sister website, EduGames Hub, which is a kind of repository for news and information for people who make educational games. And that has a much more global reach than the London Educational Games Meetup, which is obviously just focused in London. But what's changed since the last time I spoke to you is that we've had interest from other people around the world. I've been talking to people in the Netherlands and to people in Israel about setting up similar meetup communities around educational games and educational software. So I've been giving them my advice, having run a network like this for over 2 years now. And EduGames Hub itself has evolved from a few interviews to some very in-depth articles for educational software developers on how to do things like market to the Apple App Store, to the new kids part of the App Store. And another thing we've been doing is taking a look at other countries outside of the US and the UK. So I've been looking at Poland recently, Iceland is coming up, I'm hoping to talk to some developers in France so we can get an idea of what's going on there. So lots of things are happening. So we're trying to build an audience for EduGames Hub. We're getting a lot of traffic from the United States, which surprises me because there's already a lot of information and a lot of networks in the States. So it's interesting that they're coming to us for additional information. We're also getting traffic from other parts of Europe and a little from Asia, which is interesting. And we want to start producing more content that's about what's going on in these countries and that caters to the interests of people from these countries.
You talked at the very first meeting about the really important aspect of putting the education into the game. Can you sort of embellish that for people who miss that?
Yeah, actually, we've just been talking about this at the X-Play Indie Games Conference in Bath. We ran a panel about finding the sweet spot between entertainment and education in educational games. And there's a lot of disagreement and a lot of different opinions flying around about it. A lot of people make so-called educational games that sometimes they're not even games, and often they're not very educational. And this happens for a variety of reasons. Quite often it's someone with a technical background, a developer who's had an idea for a game, and they've gone ahead and built it without really talking to students or to teachers. And one thing that we try and do is bring those groups of people together so that they can have those conversations before they start developing things. Another issue that we often come across is that people make what's cheap and simple to make. So we get a lot of flashcard games, we get a lot of multiple choice question games, which aren't very entertaining, and they don't exploit the things that are really great about the best entertainment games, which is that they're complex systems that really engage the learner. And what we're trying to do is encourage more people to embrace the systems of games and to create really brilliant educational experiences using those systems.
It seems to be happening in schools on the periphery, as it always will be, as it always does, or through informal learning outside of institutions. Mm-hmm. I don't know what your take on that is.
I think it's very hard for one person to make a good game. All the best entertainment games in the world have been made by teams of people who bring different skills to the table. I'm not saying it can never happen, but it's very rare. And it's the collaborative, playful process that goes on behind the scenes that often translates into a really excellent experience for the person who's playing the game. I think if the people who are making it are engaged in a really enjoyable, collaborative experience, the end result is often better than when there's someone working in isolation and worrying about every aspect of what they're doing. So we are planning a new programme of events into the new year, and we're looking at some potentially contentious and some quite interesting topics. We're looking at the science, the neuroscience behind gaming in our next meetup, and we're going to take a look at gamification in the new year, which has been a contentious subject in the past, but we're going to try and get past the contentiousness of it and look at people who are actually implementing gamification in an education environment and are seeing positive People results. Keep asking us how we're going to monetize EduGames Hub and Leg Up, and Martha and I, who run it, we're both quite reluctant to go down that path because we think it would change what we're doing. But we're not closed off to the idea. We're certainly interested in the idea of sponsorship and innovative ways of making it a profitable business. But at the moment, we're very much focused on just having the most interesting conversations that we can and bringing the most diverse group of people together as we can, because having run this for over 2 years now, we're starting to see positive effects in the community, and we very much want that to continue.
Our live stream is the first time we've done this. It's very exciting. It's all thanks to Leon at the back there, who's from Learn for Life, which is a new TV channel for kind of teachers, continuing professional development of teachers, but probably also relevant to everybody interested in education. And that's launching on Saturday too. So go to L4L.co.uk or hashtag L4LTV. So in case you haven't been to Leg Up before, it's the London Educational Games Meetup group. We have these meetups about once a month on all kinds of different subjects. And today it's the science of learning games. And we've got 3 really interesting and different speakers for you. We, for the first time, are in Yuki's offices, which is really exciting. And thank you very, very much to Yuki for hosting us. This has been brilliant. Just trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. Oh, hashtag is Leg Up. Okay, let's get started.
Yuki are one of the 2 trade bodies for the games industry. So what we do is we are a membership organisation, a not-for-profit, and we negotiate on behalf of our members for discounts. So that might be for legal stuff, for PR, it might be for entrance to the conferences. Recently we took 44 companies out to Germany with UKTI aid, made it much cheaper for them to get their games shown on the European stage. And we also lobby government, so the tax breaks for the games industry, something that we were hugely involved in as well. The VGAs, the Video Games Ambassadors, of which I am one, this is something that came out of the STEMnet Ambassadors Programme. So obviously STEM is science, technology, engineering and maths. Many years ago, actually, I went and talked to some of the guys and said, well, you know, do you include programming in this? And they went, oh, no. So it's about 2 years ago, Yuki partnered with STEMnet. The process is the same as applying to be a STEMnet ambassador. You sign up online, you fill in a very brief form, then you get an induction, and it's all done regionally. So you don't have to take time out to travel. And then all being well, once that's gone through, the local schools can contact you, and the best thing about this is you only have to commit to one thing a year, and that might be 15 minutes talking to your local primary school, or it might be, if you're really keen, you can do as many things as you like, it might be running a workshop on art or game design or game audio even. I'm really keen to see as many of our disciplines getting involved as possible, not just the programming, although of course that's important. I think this is important. I mean, programming was the first sort of poster campaign, if you like, because we really were hurting in the fact that we just could not recruit enough talented programmers in this country. But art, particularly with, you know, as games consoles and mobile, particularly mobile and tablet, you know, the quality of resolution now is so high, you need really good artists. So you need people who have good drawing skills, good life drawing skills, colour theory, perspective, graphic designer skills, all the old-fashioned core art skills, and that will inform really good art in the digital age. I think people mistakenly think that games are made by just programmers. And then the other thing, I think they don't realise that it's, you know, as much as the craft skills are hugely important, you also need to be a good team player, you need to be good at communication, you need to be a decent human being. If you think about it, if you said to an employer in any area of business or industry, I've got someone who's very confident, they have great communication skills and they're great with working with other people, who's going to say no to that?
Yeah, exactly. Now, can you tell us if someone is one of your members or wants to become an ambassador, what do they do? Okay, they should go to www.gamesambassadors.org.uk. There's a very simple explanation there, and follow it through. I think my contact details are on there. If not, we'll put them up at the end of this short film. Sign up on the dotted line. It's a very brief form. The regional arranger will then get in touch with you. The induction is up to 2 hours, so not a lot. And then once your details have been passed through so that you have a police clearance to go and work in schools, you are free to go and get in touch with your local schools, or hopefully they will get in touch with you and say, you know, come in and talk to our art class about game design, about game audio,
at programming even. And same with all of the others. The physics classes, obviously physics is a massive thing in games. So yeah, there's lots of, I think that what I'd really like to see is a lot of cross-fertilisation. People understanding that certainly in this day and age, the more you know about other facets of your own industry and other industries, one, the more interesting it is, and two, the more opportunities there will be for you to develop as a person and in your career.
That's wonderful. And also, you're insured. That's another big
Absolutely.
thing.
Absolutely.
So do you have a sort of roadmap or any other spin-offs that are sort of coming out of Yuki in terms of...
We are shortly launching a student membership. Now, at the moment, this will be for higher education students, but in future, who knows, we might extend that down into secondary schools. But we're looking at working particularly with teachers for me to make them more aware of the VGA's role, and also just that careers in games are out there, because I think a lot of teachers aren't aware of it. I always use the analogy of films. I couldn't make a film, but actually, because I've grown up in a culture where films have been made for 100 years, I know an awful lot of things that you need. Nobody knows that about games, partly because we're very new, and partly because we've been a bit defensive about talking to the wide world. And I think one of the really lovely things now is that actually we're losing that defence. We're coming out and going, do you know what, we're really proud of what we do. The stuff that's made in this country is amongst the greatest games in the world. And you and you and you could all be part of that in the future.
And I don't think younger people do realise how some of the biggest games in the world are made in this country.
Absolutely. You know, Grand Theft Auto, Moshi Monsters. These are big names. And it's same with other creative digital stuff. You know, all of the VFX for the Harry Potter films was done here. So I think it's one of the things that I've always been grateful for, because I fell into the industry by accident, and I've stayed because I love the people I worked with and I love the work I do. And if I can make that a possibility for somebody who didn't know it was there, I think then I've done my job.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
Well, it's not learning, my dear, if you can't do it here. So go home and plan your revolution.